Varsha?
I'll start, ma'am.
Varsha, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. I'll start now, ma'am. Ma'am?
Yes, you can play the video, Varsha.
Okay, ma'am. I'll start.
Varsha, you can play the video. Hello. Hello. I welcome you all for this inauguration function of Readers Club. So actually, there are so many clubs being instituted from the start of this semester. So many clubs, before that we didn't have this much number of clubs. So many activities going on in our college. So we want to segregate it in different forms coming under one umbrella. Under that we have different branches of clubs. So here I welcome you all for this Readers Club inauguration, and I wish to introduce our chief guest, Mrs. Rose Ovia Ramasamy. So Mrs. Rose Ovia Ramasamy is now a lead software engineer at Sen OV Software Consultants. He is working at New York, United States. She's from Indian background only. She has started this education from Chinmaya Vidyalaya Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Coimbatore, till the 12th grade. And then he has studied in Bharatiyar University, the Bachelor of Computer Science, and completed her master's degree at Bharatdasan University in the year 2003. So after that, she has great experience as software engineer at Software Solutions Integrated Limited, and also the lead programmer at Ravichandra Systems and Computer Services Limited, and also worked as a programmer in the year 2004 to 2008. So now she is a consultant of Sen OV Software Consultants. She is a great entrepreneur, great reader, and she is also volunteering the East Brunswick Public Schools. From the year September 11 till now, she is volunteering the experience with the public school. So she is a great achiever and great accomplisher, and also an entrepreneur. She has stepped into this height, in this ladder, step by step. I welcome you, ma'am. I once again welcome all the participants for the inauguration of this Readers Club of Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology. Welcome you, ma'am. Now the session is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Am I audible now, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible. Don't worry, you are audible only, ma'am. You can carry on.
Okay. All right. Reverend Secretaries of the institution, respected Dr. K. Karunagaran Sir, CEO, dear Dr. R. Sabita Madam, Professor of the ECE Department, dear Dr. R. Purnima Madam, Assistant Professor, Mathematics Department, all the dedicated professors, and my dear, ever dearest, I should say ever dearest keen students of the Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology. Good afternoon to everyone in India. It's early morning here. It's about 5:15, I believe now, exact, yeah, 5:13. So, Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology is definitely, one of the most recognized institutions in Coimbatore. Those of you that are not aware of it, Hindustan Charitable Trust, Educational and Charitable Trust is a large conglomeration of educational institutions that includes the College of Engineering and Technology, Institute of Technology, School of Architecture, College of Health Science, College of Nursing, College of Arts and Science, Polytechnic College, College of Education, Hindustan School, and even a preschool. I'm very happy to be part of today's inauguration for the Readers Club. I'm sorry I missed out whatever ma'am said earlier a few minutes ago. But I'm positive that she said a lot of good things about me. I thank you all wholeheartedly for giving me this wonderful opportunity again. Thank you so much. எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். என்னோட மதர் டங் தமிழ் தான். So, I'm in some few other webinars, I spoke in Telugu, so people thought that I know a little bit of Telugu, but not a lot of Telugu. However, I'm Tamilian, and most of my school education was in Coimbatore. My college education is also in Coimbatore. As a matter of fact, some of my professors from my own institution is, here today. So, to everyone, very warm good afternoon, and glad to be part of this. When our dear Dr. Sabita Madam approached me, within a few minutes, of our conversation, I began admiring Madam's dedication in mentoring her students and her importance in giving unparalleled attention to her students. Very first time that I spoke with her, in a few minutes, she was explaining, what all they teach at school. In the school, meaning in the US, United States of America, we always say school even for university. So in your college, Madam sincerely gave me an understanding of the higher teaching standards and the quality of education, in this multiple award-winning educational institution. Since its inception, I think in the 1990s, it's a huge and, notable, remarkable achievement in just a few decades, making Hindustan a prestigious educational and charitable trust. I'm so happy to be part of, the Readers Club inauguration today. It's actually my second visit to this college. My first visit was, a physical one. It was just mostly technical talk on information technology and everything. So, as when Madam approached me, she asked me to just go over things related to my question to her was, should I intertwine technology into today's speech? That's basically how I asked it, and she said, students actually receive a lot of subject-related information every day, madam, and now particularly with these online classes, they receive much more technology-related knowledge. So she said, let's just get out of the monotonic style and then, keep it more realistic and engaging for everyone that is listening. So as it is, the sole idea of this reading club is to inculcate creativity in everyone, as adults. We are so happy to be part of, this particular age of evolution, I would say. So the more we want to know, information is available. To inculcate creativity, to model innovative thoughts within every reader, okay, within every reader, and to channel positivity across the community on the whole is the idea behind this readers club. In general, you can actually go on any website relevant to, for example, there's something called goodreads.com. You go there and there's always a readers club, like they talk about, books, they discuss about whether a book can be read by, such and such audience, who would be more interested. And then what is the, rating that they give for the book, and that kind of a thing. Now, as such, professors and teachers have, and they would always be our hope, since they guide us to light out of the darkness. Personally, to me, my teachers and professors are like God, the Almighty in human form. Dr. Savita Madam is one such great teacher, and I wish, I was a student of our dear Savita Madam. She could just join, my rest of the professors that I have. They are the prime reason why we are focused, meaning like many students are so focused in life. We want to achieve something and we want to give back to the society. My professors and teachers are the prime reason why we are. Of course, parents are always there. Everyone's parents. We want our children. As a parent myself, we want our children to excel, and we want our children to be good people. Good citizens of the whole world. Let's not talk about just India. It's good citizen of the whole world. That's how that's a good term to use. Let's not just confine ourselves to one country. The whole world is ours. We have to be more nurturing. The more we know, the more we should just try to use it in our daily lives. Even kids, little kids over here, like preschoolers, I believe, similar education is also part of, I could see a lot of, changes in the education. When we were a child, how it was in India, now there's a lot more changes. I expect much more changes in India, and as such in every part of the world. Those who are not, very fortunate enough to get education, people like us who have education, we should be able to render what we could to them, what we know, we could actually teach them. Now, the topic that ma'am chose was reading for creativity. Now, right from we took baby steps, we were taught how to speak by our parents, friends, teachers, relatives, caregivers, etc. We learn, we keep learning, we learn new things every single day, every single moment. What makes us illiterate is just our ability to be able to read and write, correct? Obviously, the basic skill. Say, for example, my children, we can call them, they can read and write, but they cannot read or write Tamil. Even though that's our, my own mother tongue, they can speak a little, they understand a lot, but they cannot read and write. So, what makes us illiterate? It is our ability to be able to read and write. Obviously, this is the most basic skill that we all proclaim, right? We're all literates today. To be able to read is fantastic. Now, if we are all, if we want to call ourselves literates, sure. How many books have we read? I mean, in our lifetime. Other than the books that we have to read to pass our so-called exams, how many books have we read so far? So, this is a question that we must all ask. How do we measure brilliance? While I was in India, even though the Central Library in Savita Hall, it kind of relates to Madam's name. So the Central Library is not far from where my parents or my in-laws' houses. However, while I was in India, I'm not sure, I visited there many times, maybe once or twice, that's it. Usually, we are so focused on learning for the exams and so focused on knowing more. Since, I'm from information technology, so, we have to keep ourselves updated. So back then in the 2000s, .NET was coming, but it was not part of the curriculum. So we had to just, learn more of, even though it was just a beta version then, We were all curious to know more. And that's how it was. Rather than knowing the outside world, we were so focused on just, like money making. Now, how do we measure the brilliance? Just because, somebody is good in subject knowledge, that doesn't mean, they are brilliant. Okay? Brilliance, when we hear, if at all, we hear someone say that, I know that, that person is so brilliant. Okay? It's good for them. Good for them. I wish I'd been so brilliant as him or her. That's how we say, right? We always hear, he's so lucky, he's so brilliant, he's so focused, this, that. Now, how do we deem someone as brilliant? Based on their knowledge. Now, how do we gain this knowledge or wisdom? That is by learning, knowing, hearing. Particularly, we have to know more of what's happening in the outside world by reading books. So, book club, you can actually read more of magazines, relevant to right now, since you're all students, or like maybe most faculties that are listening, we always want to keep ourselves updated. Like there's so many websites that has just one subscription. You can just like go on any just like for if you're health conscious, you want to just like choose those kind of magazine. If you're like technology relevant, you could, all of them come as a package nowadays. But in general, the idea is we need to know how to engage ourselves. That is the prime idea. Usually we hear a lot, why are all these social media, like Facebook, and I'm not against any of those. I'm just saying, why are those things more popular? Because back then we did not, it was just one way. Right now, how it is, for me, it's just one way for me, right? Now, meaning I'm not able to hear from this laptop. I just have another phone, and I'm able to hear from this phone. Something happened somewhere, I'm not sure, but it was working fine perfectly. So similar to this, when we were all little children, or we were adults, not like real adults, like, when we call teenage people, we were actually, only then the internet was coming. And then, so many, the dot-com, companies were just, getting the boom, dot-com boom was happening. So what makes these social media so popular, and why is everyone glued into it these days? Because it's a medium where you know more. Okay, well, they could be good, they could be bad, they could be, like all sort of things. But as little children, like you all, like college kids, I call you all as little children because, I'm as old as a rock, I could say. So, little children, we need to focus more. That kind of focus and that kind of attention span would improve if we are glued on to books that are not curriculum related. You see my point, right? So we don't hear a lot of people, especially college kids in the United States of America. I see my children. I have 3 kids. My son is in 8th grade here. He's he just started his teenage, and he's 13 now, and my daughter is 9. And my baby daughter, she's 3. So all these kids, they learn from books, meaning not from the school books. Even at school, they are made to actually go for non-fiction or fiction based on, their interest. And then there are specific levels, there are specific lexical, like measures given. Based on that, there is a running record of their reading comprehension skill. That is part of the curriculum. So they get to choose their own book. Teachers have their suggestion. But however, like leisure reading is, they keep on reading. They just read. Every day they read. So I restrict their, television time. And I also restrict their, I'm not on any social media except LinkedIn. So similarly, my kids are not on any social media yet, but their friends, they have their own cell phones, they have their own, I hear them ask them, aren't you on Snapchat, this, that. So I tell my son, even back then we did not even know what cell phone was. So he says, you're just from a different age, mommy. You're not, the kid that belongs to this age. But anyways, our idea here is to keep the children stay focused on what is more important in life. Meaning, just not money making. Okay, we have to be, as we learn, as we know more, we have to make sure that we stay kind, we stay, more, we have to show more empathy towards people. Usually you see all these people that are in higher, positions, they kind of, I'm not complaining of anyone here. I'm just saying in general, they are hard to approach. Okay, not all people that are in, higher positions are easily approachable. So there are only quite a few people, even on LinkedIn, even if you do not know and if you request for the connection, they're willing to just, connect back with you. So there are quite, not a lot of, nice, outgoing people. That's what I would say. They're all nice people in general, but they're not very outgoing. Why is that? Because they don't want more, trouble. Someone says, okay, I know him, that kind of thing. Now, how do we know what's good and what's not good? As little children, like as college kids, you need to know the real world. How do you know? Experience would have, my experience is probably your age, right? So we would have, come across many, many people. So we would just be still, mostly we get puzzled, we get baffled on, what to expect of a situation. So in general, we say our knowledge comes from various resources. Usually we listen to our parents, we listen to our teachers, but as we grow older, you are all ready to face the world. You want to be if you're ready to face the job market. You want to shine out, you want to get your own job, you want to, have your own apartment or have your own house, have your own car, bike, all of these things. So you're ready to make your own family. You're all getting there. How do we know who is right, who is not right? Who gives that kind of, real-time things? Once you're out of your parents' house, everything is new, right? How do we know? How do we face the real world? We need to get this experience from something. So good books give a lot of experience, okay? That is why these authors, they actually might, I'm not talking about, just fiction. Okay, maybe, all of these movies that came, like Harry Potter movies, they are based on, books. Those are fiction, that's not real. But, you take any person's autobiography. So, for example, the great president of our country, there are so many great presidents. I mean to say, someone from Tamil Nadu, even Venkataraman was from Tamil Nadu, but I meant to say Abdul Kalam, sir. So, when you look at his history, where did he start and where did he end? Just say, who gave him that exposure? He just, tried to get all this from where? So, let me talk about, someone that I know here. We don't live far away from where Thomas Alva Edison's, the actual laboratory was, and where he actually tested the first television. The first, the bulb, electric bulb. Even that bulb that he did, is still glowing. They have his own thing. How did he gain all this knowledge? Did he gain from his teachers? No, the mommy. His mother was his teacher. So, and then after a point, how did he actually, have this motivation to, go on inventing more and more and more and more. So he, when you go to his laboratory, he has so many inventions, that nobody knows really. People only relate, Thomas Alva Edison. We even have a city after him, Edison. So, how do we know, how did he have the passion to go for all these things? He learned from other scientists of that age. So if he can do all that, why can't we? We live in the information technology age. Anything you want, you go to Wikipedia, you Google, you do this, you do that. Anything is possible. Just the phone can, do so much, right? The smartphones can do so much. Now, how do we, coming back to the question, how do we measure knowledge? How do we gain this wisdom? Okay, like I said again, by reading and reading more. Now, I have visited Thomas Alva Edison's laboratory many times, with my children. It's like one of the recognized national parks. So you get otherwise I think there is a small entrance fee, but there is something called as you go for the national park membership per year. You renew it every year, and then you get to visit all of these famous things. United States of America would recognize certain laboratories, certain things as affordable learning for children. Like not all people are affluent here. My kids go to public school, meaning like we don't have to pay a penny. All my 3 children, we live in a good, we call it as a school district. So these schools are nationally recognized. Almost all the schools are nationally recognized here, but some of them are like really famous. When you look at the ranking, they are in the national ranking. So my kids go to one of those good schools in all of the country. But still, what I meant to say was we try to use the free resources. Now, reading club in your college is definitely a free resource. Please utilize the free resources available. First would be your parents, obviously, and then your teachers. Then your institution, educational institution. When I was looking at when Dr. Sabita madam asked me, I just looked up the last time that I gave the lecture, a technical lecture was many years ago. So I just happened to, look at your college, all of the achievements. I was simply amazed by all of the astounding, most of the kids that are there, come up with extremely good projects. I'm so proud of you all. So I'm saying, please utilize the resources. Please read. It could be leisure reading, but, at this, point of time in your age, you have to read like a little bit more, maybe if you like something like technical related, like non-fiction, like go for like autobiography or like biography of these great inventors or the great scientists, then you would know, you will get more curious. That's the way to think more innovatively. Like if we think something and why can't we do that better, obviously there comes a new invention, right? So all of these new inventions that Edison came up those days, it was by the wonderful and determined mother. The mother was, because I think, the teacher complained when Edison was in school. I think I happened to, I was curious, how come this one single person? Because we only knew about Thomas Alva Edison and electric bulb. We didn't know much more. So I think he just did a whole lot of other inventions. So the solid, strong foundation for Edison was laid by his mother, because the teacher had complained that he was so dreamy, he was just wondering all of that. The teacher couldn't teach him, so the mommy just had to pull him back from school. Imagine those days. Nowadays it's more easy. If some child is so smart, immediately US government comes up with different. And there are so many projects, so many things, so many technology needs, like Google comes up with so many things. You be your own, innovative scientist, and you are recognized. As a matter of fact, today I was looking at LinkedIn, and then there is a child, I forget her, Gitanjali or someone, like an Indian origin child. She had won the one of these awards, right? Like the Young Scientist Award, and Pepsi, the former Pepsi chairman, she had actually put up this little girl's picture, and then wrote a few words about her. You know who I'm talking about, right? Indra Nooyi. She had wrote about her. So that is the level of that is the level of recognition you can get if you know more. So we know we have to learn, we have to read our syllabus, we have to do all of that, we have to go with the books. But other than that, when you find time, okay, I know there's always time, get a good book, have this book. Usually over here, you see people, if they're waiting for in the office, like any office, like doctor's office or anywhere, they always get a book, from their bag, or Or nowadays, you have like apps, like you have many apps, you go and you download them for free, and then you just use your own, like method. You can use Amazon's, Kindle. So many ways, you just do not waste your time idly. Do not, and then do not say that I didn't have the platform, I didn't have the opportunity. We have to make it. I've always seen people complain that, I didn't get this. What did Edison get? He never went to school. How was he able to like come up with all these things? That's the question that we should ask. We have all these resources around us. Okay, there's so many good, like channels to like grab. Like we can actually like grab. Like it's not even like getting. We can say, I want this. You can demand. You can, ask your teachers. Like then they will actually like find ways and means of like improving this. Like there's always an improvement, right? I understand, you are getting the best education, but there's always it's never the best. Okay, we keep improving. There is no best. We just keep on. It can always get better and better. Just keep on, like recollecting that. So to culminate this interest in learning, we have to always use practical application. Being engineers, we have to think of, when you just look at something, how can I make this better? That's the thing that it should, immediately pop up in your mind. Okay, instead of just saying, okay, I wish I was so brilliant. Nobody is brilliant when we are born. We just based on, what we know. It's not that, like we might have heard about Newton sitting, and then when the apple fell, that's how he thought of, like the gravity, like how did this apple fall from? So you have to think. The more we think, the better. How else, all these inventions came. So right now, just think about this, right? I try to use another laptop, and I try to, like play whatever your college, from you. So who thought of this, the Google Cast? Someone, right? Or many people. We have to think like that. How is this, like when we find free time, okay, please engage your brain well. I would say always practical application of what you read will multiply your imagination. Okay, it's just commoners can just commoners of Edison's time, can never think of what he actually thought of. He thought of so many different things. I'm really amazed at like how much he could think in those days. And when you look at the laboratory, it's not huge. It's just very little space, and he had his own library. That's another amazing place. His own, but we're not allowed to touch the books. It's all protected. However, you can walk through the laboratory, and then you can walk through his inventions. Similarly, another famous person, since I work for investment banking, you all might have heard about the JP Morgan, person, right? His Chase Bank, if you do not know his full name, at least Chase Bank is very, famous in the United States, and I believe, elsewhere in the world. So his, you look at in New York City, when you look at one of his houses, I'm not sure if, that's the house that he was, JP Morgan Chase. He had this amazing library that, was protected even in those days. He had like a hidden thing that, you could see, but nobody can go in there. You see the books all over, all around, you see the books all around. And then you see the books that he referred, they say whenever he finds time, he actually, spends some time, even if it's late nights. JP Morgan Chase was one of the pioneers. As a matter of fact, he funded, most of the electrical and electronics projects of that age. Tesla, you might have known, right? Not the car these days, but I'm talking about Nikola Tesla. So all these people were competing, Nikola Tesla and Edison. They were competing at the same time, about the DC, AC, as electrical and electronics students. If they are listening, even electronic students, you would understand what I mean. So how did they get all this, from books? Please go for, there's so many different resources, okay? Your college library, I looked up, it's one of the amazing places. You should definitely make use of that. Now, One more thing, that I would just say, right? I haven't seen a lot of people in the world being if someone says, I try to be kind to others, right? But kindness does not have any limitation. Okay? There is no limits to being kind. Okay? Sky is the limit for being kind. The reason why I'm bringing up this is the more we know, as literates and people that know the outside world, and, as people that apply practical things, we have to be more kind. For example, there are some projects, some of the colleges, come up with wonderful projects where they, they engage the children with projects that are relevant to the society. Okay. So when we look at just Coimbatore setup, right, as such, you can just look up various things that could benefit the society. For example, I'm just saying, this is just an example that I would like to cite, right? We were always talking about, physically challenged people, going up the stairs. Even in the railway station in Coimbatore, there wasn't much, access to, for all these people. Or even if you had 2-3 suitcases, you have to make sure that there's somebody else helping you, like a person that would physically haul of all of this and go. So why can't there be an elevator or an escalator? Why can't that be? That is something common, right? So many, engineers have come up. So many prominent businessmen have come up. Still, this is just a common thing because we are not worrying about others. That's the main thing, okay? Because I'm not saying we are not being kind. We just mind our business. Okay? If I cannot, nobody thinks about others. Please, as little children, as future citizens, global citizens of the world, we all must think, look up, not just bookish knowledge. Look outside, read, use the practical knowledge, and think, why isn't this like that? Also, one other thing that I always think about Coimbatore is the flyovers. How many civil engineers that come up with, how many? Many. Nobody ever thought of this. Every time there is a rain, there's an issue with the flyovers. Recently, right? The government came up with a wonderful plan. I'm so proud of all these things. We have to talk. The more we engage in these kind of things, reading, the Readers Club is one good place. You take a book, you analyze the book, you analyze the author's idea, you analyze what is expected from the book, you analyze how else you would write the story, how else you will, if it's just a simple story, how else would you write the story? If you are given your time with the author one-on-one, what are the questions you would ask? These kind of brainstorming ideas would actually make us intellectually smarter. Okay, I understand, mostly people would say, okay, you read, you would know more, you would just, the more you read, the better for you. That's how they say. Okay, for what? What is the final, what is the end goal? That's what I would ask to, any child or anyone. What is your goal? I always ask my children too, right? Because I'm asking you to learn, please do not learn. Learn it with interest and, always think why you are given this book. Okay? My son, he wasn't able to speak well, even though, he was here and, he was in India for about a couple of months, 4 or 5 months. He wasn't able to speak fluent Tamil or English. The one resource that helped him was to read a book. So I made sure that I sit with him and I made him read. He was around, 3-ish then, not when he was 10. I'm not talking about then. Around 3. So I made him read and read and read. And then by the time, here kindergarten starts at 5. By the time he started school, he was able to read so well. The teacher was saying, my son's name is Kavan. He says, Kavan can read an encyclopedia, but that doesn't mean understand. So then I think, okay, we have to make sure that his reading comprehension, gets better. There is always a reading comprehension test in every competitive exam. We take SAT here to get to the college, there is one. You take, CAT, for example, common admission test, there is always the reading comprehension. And you take, GRE, GMAT, all this is reading comprehension. Why is that? Because the topics that are going to be there, the context that's being discussed is now going to be practically applicable. But still, any given subject, whether it's a dry subject or anything, are you able to understand? That's the main question that we need to ask. As students and as teachers, we have to think. Simply, anyone can just say, just mug up this formula, apply this, that's not going to help at all. After, a certain point, we have to think better. Okay, that's just for basic survival. We say, right, we have to, make our bread and butter, right? And we need to, we need a shelter to live. So that's what, that solves. Knowing bookish knowledge, your degree is going to help you earn something, but is it going to be helpful for the society? You have to think about it. How would we know more? How can we help others? How can we actually helping others doesn't mean just you go and be like this philanthropist, you're giving up money. Doesn't share your knowledge with anyone. You see someone that's struggling with using up the technology, maybe they do not know how to use a smartphone, you just help them. So till now I haven't figured out what's the problem with my laptop, why I'm not able to hear the output. I tried to test it, everything was working fine. I just rebooted it. Then I thought maybe because I casted from there and YouTube from this laptop, I thought maybe that's the issue. I still tried, it was like trial and error. Then I gave up and then I thought maybe I'll just use my other phone. So like this, how many people, even though we are able to read and write, how are they able to cope up with the, technology? Are they able to cope up with the modern society? Of course not. Just look for, even in your family, they could be usually, kids that know, even I see the same attitude in my child. He says, Mommy, your education is not from here. Some of the words that you pronounce are not as American. Then I say, obviously, I do not know because, these days, maybe, I just try to look up the pronunciation from, Google or something. But those days we just use, Oxford Dictionary or Chambers Dictionary. That's all we just read. There's phonetics, but we do not know how to read that. We usually hear that. So I tell him, you hear from your teachers here come in, but we are from a different world, different world meaning different country. Or, be happy that at least Mommy can speak this kind of English. But he says, no, you have to be, then I try. I try. So we learn every day. The more we learn, meaning not learning means just, like I said, those who are toppers, I'm not saying anything against, marks or anything, please get good marks. Everyone is capable of getting good marks. But I'm saying, please also think of how we can practically apply what we learn, how this can be useful for the society, how it's going to be useful for your institution, how it's going to be useful for, even your family, right? So you have to ask these kind of questions, social media, those are all good things. Again, I'm saying just be cautious, stay cautious of, what you ask to people that you do not know, on social media. Please be cautious because, there are not a lot of, I'm just warning you on to, what you speak. But with the Readers Club, these kind of clubs, what happens is your intellectual ability just keeps on improving. You ask a question, you say, hey, I read that book. Did you read that book? I really like the author. I'm expecting a series from the author. Say, how's Harry Potter, or any book for that matter. There's so many books to cite up. Even in those days, like literary books from Tamil Nadu, obviously everyone knows about the great Tirukkural. But when we look up Rama and Mahabharatam, those are all what are in those things, okay? Just what is right and what's not right. That is actually, so there are some characters that actually try to make mistakes, and then we are exposed. We are exposed of what's happening. Should we do that? We shouldn't do that. So before we fall into that, we can actually know more from that. So that is why those were. I'm not restricting to only like Ramayana and Mahabharata. Same thing with the Holy Bible and Holy Quran. All of these books were, like written based, and most of these, like Quran and biblical stories, even I went to Chinmaya Vidyalaya, so we had all these, we had something called as value education. So most of the stories are like moral sort of thing. Like, we learned about, I believe it was the Vidyasekhar, I think he was the, I forget, I think he was the guru of someone, I think Vivekananda or someone, all of these are Swamijis I'm talking about. So he goes to a thing and then they say, okay, you cannot come, you have to dress properly and you have to come because, you're not allowed in this attire. Then he says, okay, I'm going to go there. So what are these, teaching? I'm not going to recite this whole story, but what are these trying to teach? A moral for the children. So we need to realize that, okay, there are not a lot of privileged people in the world that can dress up like us, but still we need to respect them. That's what is the end moral taught. So since I have 3 children, I understand how I would have been a child, right? How all I would have been a child. So as parents, we try to teach them, and they even, not a lot of times we are perfect. So they learn bad things also from us. But all these good books that we have, those authors, they are good because those authors have thought of all these things. When you take a character, so you just take a character, and that character is why are the actors and actresses called heroes and heroines? In the United States, when I came here, we always used to say hero, and they say, why do we keep on saying hero? They're not hero, they're just actors. Then I say, that's the way we were brought up, okay? They're just actors. Who is a hero? A hero is a person that is a real life hero. He saved someone, from drowning. He saved someone from, doing this. So that person is a hero. But when you look up a book, right, who is the hero? The main character would be the hero. Now, why are all of these characters called hero? Because they do a lot of good things, right? So how do we know those things are good? Because the author is written. So who taught you, don't do this, that's bad, don't do that, that's good? That is from experience. Usually, when we read a book, we have to ask these questions. So sometimes, I have heard people say, they like, for example, they say, like when we just take off character, right? Say, for example, I'm just coming up with Duryodhana. Okay, we know he did a lot of bad things to the Pandavas. However, there are some people that support his stand. They say he was a good person. It's just that he was not exposed to. Somebody else tried to corrupt his mind. We know that's his uncle. So these characters, so it doesn't have to be another person. It's just our thoughts itself. We think, can I do that? No, I don't have to do that. So who is actually, the conscious in you? Okay, you should be scared of only one thing. If you know that's wrong, don't do it. Okay, so this kind of thing, as a child, we don't understand anything. As a child, nobody understands anything. You're also still children for your parents and, for your teachers too. They're all older like me. So you're all teachers, to whom? Somebody that's little. Now you're all kids too. Somebody that are older than like us. So just, teachers come there, teach what's in the, for exam's sake, you need a degree, you need your engineering degree, but you will definitely get a job. You're going to be, you're going to be, well placed and everything. But how would we know the real world experience? Who will give you that? That we have to live our life. When you read more, you can always relate those characters. So if at all you face something like that, so usually they say, okay, watch a movie. Okay, but still again, I'm saying that is what the director thought about. Okay, it doesn't have to be right to the whole world. Okay, that's one person's idea. You take a book, a good book, right? There's all these people, because television, movies, all of this is fairly new. Books, we have had it for many. Nobody knows, when Tirukkural was written. They say like 2 BC or we don't even know. So, but still, how come, he was able to some even argue that it's just not one person, it's just a group of poets. The pen name was just, Thiruvalluvar. We can argue all of this, but what is the thing that they have left? Similarly, you have to question, what are we going to leave for our society, for our, when you go out, if you're called after maybe like a couple of years, come back to your college and talk about, all of the experience that you got, act like a guide to your, fellow little children, when they are in first year of college, they're only 17 or 18. What do they know? They just know nothing. They look mature, but they're not mentally mature, right? It takes a lifetime to understand, how to live a life properly. So you ask all these, prominent people, they would say, I wish I just lived like that. I wish, that was the only mistake, I wish I could unwind that. So we always, everyone, we live by our, we learn, we live. Not every person has the same, exposure or experience, right? How do we know? Collectively, or as a group, as a club, when you read a book, we can talk, we can know more. So next time when you face something like that in the real world, you can actually be able to face that. Or most important thing as such is to break boredom. So I hear a lot, people, I'm so bored. I don't know what to do. My exams are done. I just want to relax. How do you relax? Just, going, I want to hang out with friends. You see all these people, right, like hanging out with friends. You hang out with friends and you do what? I don't even like the word hanging out. Hanging means like physically hanging out, I know I have heard a lot, and I've also seen, people even write on their resume. As a matter of fact, the curriculum vitae, they write, hobbies, hanging out with friends. Please, okay? As an employer, they don't see all these things, okay? Not just for the job market in general, because those people are looking for responsible employees. Where would the responsibility come? You need to be more self-driven. So always in every interview, they say, now when you look up anything, self-motivated. How do you get the motivation? How can we self-motivate ourselves? So all these people that, so many authors have written, for example, Indian author Shiv Khera, so many people read his, books, and they say, okay, go buy this book, this line, that line. You be your own judge, why would you want to, I'm not saying anything against him. I'm just saying, listen to your teachers, listen to your parents, you be your own judge, you decide for yourself first. When you do not know what to do, then you seek others' guidance. All these well-learned people, why are they seeking, guidance from, people that have little education? Because they are there to guide more. They think, they give themselves comfort, they give themselves solace to understand, because they face this problem, they do not know how to handle it. Everything is fairly new for them. I don't know what to do. I'm perplexed. I don't know. I'm just, wondering, how would I be able to manage this? Kadavule, எனக்கு மட்டும் ஏன் இப்படி எல்லாம் நடக்குது? That's what we know. Even I have said the same thing. Exactly. You hear a lot saying that, why? Because we are not able to face that. Please face the problem. Please face the problem. How would we face any situation, any problem in life? By real world exposure. How would we? By learning, by reading. Good books are great companions, okay? We must keep reading. We should definitely read. Even as adults, we have to keep reading, okay? So, I'm just getting off topic, okay? Let me just, I had a few more points to discuss before, what time is it? Okay, a little bit more. Now, like I said, there is no wrong with spending time for the sake of peace of mind. Some people like to listen to music. Okay, there are a lot of audiobooks. Do you know that? There are a lot of audiobooks. I always, when we commute to work, I have seen people read. Some people, they don't want to strain their eyes. They just close their eyes and they listen to audiobooks. So everything was fairly new for me. When I came to the United States, everything was fairly new, okay? As newlywed, my husband and me, we had a lot of time, so we made use of our time. There was a library near, where we lived in New York City. very close, where we live is walkable distance. So we actually go there and hold a lot of books. You just get like, there is no limitations. I think you can take about 100 books in the United States, any library, not online, like physically you can have 100 books. And each person in the household can actually have a library card. So you can take about, like if, for example, we are 5 people here, we can take about 500 books. So that's how much, they actually let people learn. So think about this, right? When we're watching a movie, usually we try to idolize the characters on the screen, okay? And then we want to be them, or we want to be their friends. All these people that saying, like, I am so awestruck by how he is. We don't know the real character, how they are in real life. We just, like look up, their screen, how they are in the screen. And then we think, oh, he did a lot of good things in the movie. He is the best. Okay. We come to conclusions. I'm not saying little children, even big people. We are like that. They say, somebody says anything against my hero, the one that I have in my mind, I don't want to talk to him. That's how people are. It's, I would call these people a really child, like childish, and I would not say immature. They are mature in their own way. I would say they are really, children. If they get to know the real person, maybe they will be like, no, I don't want to be friends with this person. How do we get this kind of thing? By knowing more. Please utilize your resources. Read more. I'm not saying don't watch movies. You can watch movies, but think about all these movies that have become, like, for example, take Bahubali, right? So because the person wrote, a beautiful story of, the kingdom, again, betrayal, all of these things, but in a modern form. And so that movie is so famous. Same thing, like I said, Harry Potter. Any of the science fiction movies you take, your Gravity, you just go, most of these movies, like even Matt Damon's Martian. So all of these movies, because they make the people think, it's just something that you cannot imagine for yourself. So you want to just, be awestruck at, what's happening. If you start to read a book, and if you read in a good pace, you can actually visualize a movie. There are so many books that actually help you learn more. So when you inculcate the habit, when like how to read faster, you can always like learn faster, even for your exams. If you had to sit there and learn for 3 hours, you can actually be done with a book in about an hour. So maybe 1/3 of your time is free. So you can get to play. Physically go out and play, like maybe if you like cricket, just go play with your friends. That's good. That's more. These days, everyone wants to do computer games, or all of that. It's not bad. It's good. But I'm just saying we are just confined mostly to the screens. Get away from that. Get good books, okay? And learn. Get to know the real world, okay? Ask yourself questions. Ask yourself, your friends questions. This is a like a protected environment for you all. If you're on social media and you ask these things, some people might take it nicely. Some people might, there are always people to support someone and they say, okay, this is not a good idea. Why do you want to say like that? So you're not there to waste your time like that. Okay. That's why I am not there. Even, as a 41-year-old, I'm not there on social media because I don't have the time for that. I don't want to spend my time that way. Okay. So please think. And as people get older, okay, like I'm old than most of y'all, so that's what I'm saying. The interest in movies might fade. Okay, I used to watch a lot of movies, but nowadays, if I were to watch a movie in 10 minutes, I would just beginning, in the middle, and then end. That's it, because I don't have the patience. So there are always various other resources to find solace. So when I'm in the free time, I might listen to music. So when I'm like doing something else, maybe gardening or just playing with my friends, I might just listen to music. So, but then there are also audiobooks that you can learn. Please utilize the resources. Your library, your college library has a wealth of information. I'm so happy that, they thought of this Readers Club. It's a wonderful thing. Other than that, one other thing that I wanted to say is, right, if you get into the habit of learning, right, what happens is your concentration power improves. Your focus and your attention span improves. These days, you might hear, and I'm not sure if you might have heard, but in the United States, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So that is a common term that people, okay, this child is ADHD, has ADHD. That means he cannot, sit and concentrate for more than 10 minutes. He has to go out and play. He has to just wander. He has to, he's always worrying about, something else, but not what's being taught to him. How is this happening? Because of all these distractions that he is faced. That means nobody is, forced him to sit and read a book for some time. You sit and book a read for 30 minutes. That is a good thing because, it helps you relax. It makes you feel good. Every day is a better day. Okay. We can escape the reality and we can live in the a fictitious world temporarily. Like you can be the character or you can just be the character's friend. Okay. Just think about this. If you're watching a movie, that's already there. That's already there. You are still going to anticipate what's going to come next. But read a book, that experience is completely different. I have experiences, like I said, we chose to have children only after 3 years of marriage. So my son was born at the 4th year. I had a lot of time. I read a whole lot of books then. Nowadays, I don't have the time. I read some for my children, for my baby maybe, because she cannot read yet on her own, but the other kids learn. And then there's so many other things to do. However, those, moments are magical for me. In India, like I said, I did not go to the library, but still, Central Library is a great place. After I came, visited India, because I went to the library here, I wanted to just go there and see how it was. We have good resources. We have great resources. Even, those who want to there's a separate place to, learn for civil service exams, group 1 exams. There is a separate, place where, there are so many reference books and there's so many different, technology relevant books too. So many free resources are there, but it's just that we don't want to use, use that. When we get a time, free time, we call a friend. We say, okay, call your friend, but just call and then, talk, engage in more intellectual talk. Okay. So other than that, you can improve your vocabulary. I'm very sorry to say, I just saw that, somebody misspelled entrepreneur as entrepreneur in the entrepreneur or something like that. But, it's misspelled. But I'm not complaining. It's okay. It's not our mother tongue. Even in Tamil, even though I have learned Tamil as my second language, I do not know which na to put, which la to put. It's very complicated, right? I'm not saying that. Spelling improves when we read a lot. This is just an example that I want to mention. And then our communication skills. Communication skill doesn't mean just, being able to speak in English. Okay, that does not mean that. Any language, I have worked with people that are proficient in other languages like Chinese. It's very tough, and French, German too. I have worked mostly with Chinese and French people here in the United States of America. My son learns German as a second language. So they start in a lower space, like say hello, how are you? When you go to a restaurant, what happens? So these kind of things. People are really shy usually, when even though they know English, they don't want to talk more because, they're afraid. They're really afraid of what others would think. So what? It's just a language. Talk with your friends, talk with your teachers. It's okay. Just keep on, even, if it's a job environment, try. That's it. Just try. Nobody's perfect. We keep on trying. So your in case you read a lot, storytelling skills would improve. So nalla kadai edikalam. And then other than that, like I said before, the reading speed, your reading speed would improve. And then every day we create new brain cells and we lose a lot of brain cells. We read more, we can keep ourselves young and active. So reading actually stimulates our brain and it makes us think. It actually gives us fresh, clean, we can think of, ideas that are just, okay, this is what is expected now. Is he going to do that? So that's the thing that you can read from a fiction. You can always relate to your non-fiction. So you're expected to actually, do the circuit this way. What happens if it's not parallel, if it's serial? So, people think that way, right? So I'm just saying, make it simple, make it practical. Try to utilize it. Look around your, around you. Just don't go anywhere. Just look in Coimbatore. How many, improvements can be made to our country, to our, like city, to our people, common people that do not know anything, that do not have the privilege of learning. We have everything. We have everything. You just have to utilize it. And then one more thing that I would say is most important thing these days is emotional intelligence. Even when I was little, I had a lot of meltdowns, like crying, all of that. My children do that, right? My parents, even though, they are very nice, they are not very strict. My parents are not very strict, a nice meaning like they are very nice parents, but, I wish they are very friendly. I wish they are more stricter to me. That's what I would think. They'd say, they would never say, don't cry. Even if you cry, if I cry, they say, okay, that's okay. Like they try to, but what I'm saying here is emotional intelligence is very important. So when I was here in this country, in an alien land, right? When everything was new, right? When you're alone, you think, and then, when someone says something, you feel sad. There are moments, I'm not afraid, I'm not ashamed of saying this. There are moments where I had to step into the restroom to just, relax myself because, I couldn't take the words that, come out of, in the workplace, I mean. Because it's a competitive world. It's very tough to face, competition, especially when you start working. So many people just have meltdowns. They are so low. All of this can be, you can combat all the stress. All of this, can be combat. You can combat stress, and you can actually soothe yourself. You can just calm down if you have a good book. So utilize all of this, okay? Because in those books, we have characters that you can always relate, relate. So when you take a movie, that is already done, okay? The movie, you think, okay, this is how the character is going to be. You don't relate yourself to any, movie characters. Please read a lot of books. Those characters are definitely going to be, you can actually relate them with the movies that you watch. But what I'm saying here is, that is what the director has thought. Similarly, the author also would have his own thing. But when you take a great fiction, there's lots and lots of characters. So you can think, if this character was, a little bit, nicer to this person, maybe he would not have behaved that way. So these kind of things would actually give us real-time experience. We keep on thinking. We just keep on thinking, and our thoughts just, improve. Our emotional intelligence improves. So reading actually helps you build your confidence. Like I said, it puts you in better mood. Okay? Because you're a whole new person when you start reading. Please grab a book. Okay, like I said, I have experiences personally. It's magical. Okay, you start to learn. It's just magical. You are in the world. You would not know what's going to happen. I can never, leave that book away. I want to just finish that book. Even at late nights. My husband is very strict. He says, okay, we have to, sleep on time. This, that. I say, oh no, I got to finish this. My son is like that now. My daughter also, she tries. But these days, because of this online school, they are more inclined to games. I don't like that. I don't like this. I like this, them going to the real school. So improve your English, it's definitely needed for job seeking purpose. The more you read, the better for you. You always keep asking questions to yourselves, Always think, okay, why is there difference of opinion? Why is there greed? Why is there jealousy among people? Even among family members, among countries? Why is all that, for that matter? Because the amount of moral education given to us as humans is never enough, okay? I'm telling you, it's never enough. We receive some sort of education to make a living, but human beings as a society, we can date us back to many thousand years, many million years. We don't even know, when the evolution happened. We know that, we all came from ape. But, we know how to talk. We know we can express ourselves. We can smile. We can just, do all of these good things that, no other animal can do. We are also animals, social animals. Now, it doesn't have to be English books. It could be any other language. If you want to know more Hindi, there are so many books. Tamil, so many books, okay? So many books, so many, Upanishads, if you are, some of them are in Sanskrit, I heard, some of them are easily Bhagavad Gita, for example, it's also like translated into English. You can know more, more life lessons, more moral education, all of these stories that are there in Bible. Do not restrict yourself to any religion. Okay, if you want to learn, you just keep on. I always have the interest to just like know more. When even in if you're in a group, you have to let other people talk. Usually in our society, we have this issue. Okay, we usually hear people, like always complain. I don't like the way he talks. Okay, it's not what you expect from them. It's who they are. You let them talk. Same thing, when you read a book, right? It's what the author is thinking about. If you want to change the book, like I said, in a readers club, you talk one-on-one. If you are given an opportunity with the author, what all questions would you ask the author? How can you change the book? So all these changes, like I said, there is no best. There's always a better thing. Changes are inevitable, okay? Only changes are permanent, okay? Nothing is permanent in this world. In our environment, in our universe, in our physical appearance too, okay? So, like I said, the way we behave, how we show the positive side, of our existence is all that matters. What is a good time to exist? This, now. It's always now. We have to think like that. Until, one of you kids, if you want to invent a time machine, and we go back to time, that's great. But, my son, had a book called Time Machine or something, he was so glued onto it. I think, we are going past the time. I would want to just, be concise, and let's not forget that only hard work and dedication is the key. Magic do not happen. Miracles do not happen. People expect, miracles to happen. Grab a good book, please read. Always, discuss with, whoever it is, maybe it could be your teacher, maybe it could be a friend, it could be anyone. Be an example, be the strength setter for other college students, maybe they will also come up with this idea. There are always reading clubs in every school that I know in the United States, in my son's school as well. There's always a club, and even in, like classes, there is a reading group. They actually split the kids and they put in a group. So I'm so glad that your college came up with this, okay? So discuss, what do you like about the particular character in the book? How would you recommend this book to others? Like suggest improvements to this book. All of these things, can Ariyamai enu madamai oripom. That's the one word that I would like to say. Like that's a good thing, right? Ignorance. Okay, there's some people say ignorance is bliss, but we're not children anymore, right? We're not like little babies. We have to face the world. How would we face? Please have the courage. Your college is one amazing place. Like I said earlier, I've been to your institution many years ago to deliver a technical speech. But then I wasn't able to, go into your library or anything. But now I actually checked up your library. Please, your college is a great place to begin your meaningful lifelong journey of reading and to cultivate the reading habit whose fruits, the reading habit's fruits, okay, can be harvested in a creative way, which can never be imagined. All of these great scientists, great investors, like investors. I'm just so into the investment side, right? So inventors, they have actually been able to think. So please think, start thinking collectively as such. Okay, let's make us a very good evolved society, and let's just be useful to others and be fruitful, and let's make our parents proud of giving birth to us, and teachers proud of teaching us, and our friends, let our friends be proud of being our friends. As such, try to be good and try to do good. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think I have to click on this phone in order to hear.
Thank you very much, madam.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. It's so long.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Thank you very much for readily accepting my invitation and addressing this type of occasion, ma'am. Thank you very much. You have touched upon the importance of reading for the current scenario of students, because they are in the online mode always. So you have enlightened the importance of teaching the books to be read, and you have recited along with the movies, because the students are now exposed to the technology and the characters in the movie. So you have recited everything. So thank you very much once again for readily accepting my invitation and addressing this type of occasion, ma'am. And one more quote I wish to have it now. Show me a family of readers, and I will show you the people who move the world. So that is the quote told by Napoleon Bonaparte. So this again shows you have added some points related with this for the reading habit. So over to Varsha for vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
Good evening, all. I'm Varsha of second year IT department. There is a famous quote in English stating that today's readers are are tomorrow's leaders. Like our chief guest, Ms. Rose Ovia Ramasamy, and she is a great inspiration to all our youngsters. It's my pleasure in proposing vote of thanks on this occasion of inauguration of Readers Club. First of all, I would like to thank our management and higher authorities for supporting us to conduct this inauguration. I owe my special gratitude to Ms. Rose Ovia Ramasamy for sparing her precious time with us. It's very nice to have you here, ma'am, and really, it's a splendid and enlightening presentation. I'm sure all have got benefited from your views on this topic. I would also like to extend my gratitude to our respected coordinators, Dr. R. Sabita, Professor, ECE Department, and Dr. R. Purnima, Assistant Professor, Mathematics Department, for their support to conduct this webinar successfully. Last but not least, I would like to thank all staff members and students present here for paying their attention. Once again, thank you all for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful little girl.
yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
One request, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you add this geo tag for your location so that
Okay. To know that I'm from the United States.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm sitting a little far away. Let's see. I tried initially looking at the settings. If one of you know how to, like do this, please kindly guide me over with Google Meet. How would we turn on the location? Does anyone know? Or should I Google itself? Madam?
Ma'am, go to Google Meet itself, ma'am.
Okay, I'm in there. Yeah.
Google Mapping.
Okay, I should go on Google Map.
It will show your own location. Take a snapshot of that.